Hello, this is Mark from I Am Organic Gardening, and I'm located in Zone 6B, and finally we're going to get a week of pure sunshine. Now, this is great. I'm located in Zone 6B. We've had nothing but rain and cool weather for the last month, but now we're slowly coming out of it. Now, the downside is today we're supposed to hit 90 degrees the next 2 days. So that's not going to be very helpful to our plants. It's not going to hurt them so much, but it can shock them a little bit. They can bolt and they can have other problems. But today is not a good day to transplant. So I also want to show you how I'm doing something that I discovered last year and I implemented it this year again too because of this winter rye. I'm using this winter rye as a shade screen and also a wind screen, and I'll show you that. So the field that I'm showing you right now that's currently in front of me is not the field yesterday that I showed you that I went in with the tractor and knocked all the winter rye down using the bucket. This is the field that I've been slowly cutting with the electric hedge trimmer, and also this is what we call my field number 1 or garden number 1 area. This is where I have the romaine lettuce planted in the ground using the paper on top of the soil with drip irrigation underneath, and also the cattle panels to hold it down. Now I'll show you this. Now what you see currently is the whole field with winter rye up on top. So here it is, our little cove inside the winter rye, and it's doing great. Now, last year I used to have to worry about winds coming in at 30-40 miles an hour and hurting that very brittle lettuce leaves when they're young. I didn't have to worry about that this year. We have winter rye currently, which is 5 feet tall and is blocking the wind to the north, which is to your right-hand side. Also, now you can see it's about almost 12 o'clock and we have plenty of sunlight. It gets more than 6 hours a day, and we have on top here, we have the winter rye. Now it's been growing, but it's been at least for the last month at least 2 feet tall, and now we're at 5 feet. So every time it's going through, it's also giving me also a shading effect. First thing in the morning, we don't get direct sunlight, we get shade, and you can see here, let's get a better picture for you, how beautiful that romaine lettuce is growing. Not a problem in the world. Plus it's staying very clean because I do not have any open soil anywhere. So I don't have all those little soil particles falling inside the lettuce leaves. And I used to cover it up, and again, with the winter rye acting as a shade curtain and also a windscreen, it's doing extremely well. Now today I was going to put more transplants in, but there's no way that I would even consider doing something like that with this type of forecast. Now here's the winter rye blooming, and you can see that by the yellow pieces there that are coming out. Now it starts in the middle and then will work its way towards the top and the bottom. Again, the reason I'm showing you this is because you do not have to go in there and cut all the winter rye down at one time. In the other field I did that because we're going to be planting up short plants, but you can just gauge to what you need. Now this is providing, again, my shade cloth area and also windscreen for my early vegetables that I plant into this area. And at my convenience and at my time, I can come back and cut this down. I'm just growing more straw as the days go by. And if I want to, I can cut 5 feet down or 10 feet or 100 feet in one day, whatever I choose. There is no game plan for this. It's not necessary because you can see it's not hurting the plants whatsoever. Yes, I do have a lot of room, but something which is nice, instead of growing a lot of grassy area, you can grow this area which is growing soil for you all the time, and at your own convenience, and then you have something that you can do next year. So the pathway that I have to the right or to the left, I can move this whole strip over next year and plant into it, and I'll have a perfect crop again because I've been growing soil in there. Now what I can do, and which I will do later on too, when I take this winter rye down, if I want to, I can go in there and I can even plant something tall like sunflowers again and have that grow my soil for me all summer long. Now here's another good example. This is the raised strawberry bed that I planted the certified organic strawberry plugs into. Now you can see on both sides I had weed whacked it through the middle, cut everything away, and then I planted some New Zealand white clover in there, and also the plugs. Now you can see that the winter rye is still growing on both sides because that's on the side of the mound there, and I didn't cut that down. But what I wanted to see was, again too, I did not want the beds to dry out from the wind, so I have this barrier on both sides again also, creating a wind screen for me and also a shade screen. Now I'm going to take a closer look at this, but you can see, just take notice on both sides when I get closer how everything is growing so closely to the winter rye on the left and right hand side, and you're not getting any shading effect that's hurting anything or the quality of the plants. Let's go take a look. Now here's a better picture. Now you can make out the strawberry plants. Those are nice dark green leaves, and some of them have white flowers on them already. Now also you can see the clover closest to both sides still getting plenty of sun and not worrying about that winter rye shading it. The larger taller plants in there with the bigger leaves, those are volunteer buckwheat seeds that are coming up, and they'll have a white flower. That'll grow pretty tall. That'll grow about 2 feet tall. Now again, the whole bed is doing extremely well, and doing nothing to it. It will keep the weeds down, and hopefully eventually it will produce a nice crop for me later in the season. I might remove these white flowers, but I don't think so. I'm going to enjoy some strawberries early in the season. And this also brings us to the next thing that I noticed also that I want to share with you. Now you can see that there's very little weeds in here because the soil is not heating up too quickly, and the clover is pretty much the dominating factor on it. Will there be some weeds in here? Sure. But again, here's a no-till situation. This is something that I created the bed last year, put the winter rye into, removed it, did not disturb the soil, planted the plugs right into it, and threw the seeds on top, and then added a little bit of compost on top to hold the seeds down. Now, let me show you a bed that I created this spring, only a few months ago, and I'll show you how many weeds are growing with the New Zealand white clover that I planted with it. Now here's our strawberry plant. I want to point it out to you. It's in front of that stick there. Now, again, it's not being hurt, it's not being held back by any means, but the only thing we have to do now is wait for the weeds to grow a little bit taller, which they will do very quickly because of this heat coming on. That's a good advantage for this. And then we just come back with our electric hedge trimmer, cut right above the top of that strawberry plant and make sure that there's no other ones in the way. And we just cut the top of the weeds off, and then hopefully everything will get back to normal again. Not everything in here is a weed. I have some voluntary kale growing here, and actually I'm probably going to pick that and have that for lunch today. Thanks. I want to thank you very much for watching this video today and taking time out of the day to do so. If you have any questions, please listen below, and I will see you next time. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. Enjoy your day. Thanks.